All right, now you're live.
Hello again. This is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. Great panel this week. Tom Sawyer is back with us. Thank you for doing that. That's for all the kids who happen to be watching. By the way, that's Tom, our co-executive producer, our booking producer on this podcast. The great Carlos Alazraki, comic, Reno 911, voice actor. Mike, there's so many things to say about you. I don't even know. There are things I just learned in the last 5 minutes that I didn't know about. Throw something at me. Throw. If there's one credit, the credit that you were the most proud of. One credit that you were the most proud of. I didn't ask you. I already introduced you. You got your Taco Bell thing. Mike, give me one thing. If there's one thing you're the most proud of, what would it be? And don't go my daughter, because that's
Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah.
It's a cool cartoon, Rocco's Modern Life.
Right.
Well, obviously I know Rocco's Modern Life.
Skydiving. I was a skydiver for 15 years. I really loved it, and it was a great sport, and I'm glad I did it.
What does that sound like, Carlos?
All right, we've got a bunch of stuff here to talk about.
Oh, you forgot to introduce Mike Larson.
Well, I asked you. I said, give me something. I go.
Oh, you asked me? I thought you were asking Carlos.
No, I was talking to you. After throwing all this Carlos stuff, I said to some of you.
You thought you were talking.
I'm asking you.
Brian, you've got a lazy Zoom eye.
Give me. I'm the Jack Elam of Zoom. Give me your credit that you were the proudest of.
The credit I am most proud of?
Yeah.
Oh boy, probably that I pitched jokes to a drunken Ted Kennedy.
Like there was any other kind.
Huh?
Like there was any other kind. A drunken Ted Kennedy.
He is, of all the politicians I wrote for, he was the most enjoyable to write for because he was always hammered and very happy.
Now, here's the thing, though, being hammered like that, and especially, being hammered with comics and pitching a joke to a comic and then going out doing it, it's not going to hurt anything. But when you got a United States senator who, if he says the wrong thing, it could end a career or cause some serious, policy damage. Were you careful? Was he careful? Did you ever write anything that you go, that's not how I wrote that, but it came out that all Mexicans are bad. How did you?
He was Ted Kennedy. I was pretty young at the time. Obviously, he's been dead a while. I was a pretty young comic, and at that point, had only written for a few famous people, and was brought into his little office there, and he was there with Alec Baldwin was on the phone, and I was pitching to both of them. And he was the most pleasurable guy I've ever pitched to, because everything I pitched him, he laughed. He threw his head back and laughed, and then I left.
And you never managed to have a quit.
So I don't even know, obviously. I mean, they were going off to some event. I don't know whether how much he used or if it worked or whatever.
And he still doesn't know to this day whether he got the job or not.
I don't. It's funny, of all the times I've been paid, handsomely to write for other people, that was something I was never paid. But it is something I remember.
Yeah, I've always been curious about that. What kind of money does it pay to write for politicians? I mean, are you volunteering your time, or are they paying any money?
Mostly. Yes. I mean, I write for 4 or 5 people who are in Congress now. And I don't ask them for money.
So it's a contribution.
Mostly for the people who are at Comey hearings.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for Pam Bondi throwing her stuff from time to time.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. No. I get paid for, I also write, well, I mean, I have a gig now that pays me, but also, when I write for whatever, CEOs or write speeches, sure, they pay me well, but
of course,
yeah, for people like politicians that I support, and I don't, I'm thrilled to be asked.
Yeah, I've volunteered to do that a couple of times myself. I'm not going to say who.
No, that's kind of the agreement, is that you don't say who, because they do get the credit for their brilliant jokes.
Well, I remember what a big deal it was that when it came out that Leno had been writing for actually about typical Leno on both sides of the aisle.
Sure. Yeah,
He would come
yeah.
up he would come up with a joke. I thought, oh, this would go well, with Strom Thurmond. He'd do real well with delivering
Uh-huh.
this joke.
You
It
guys are
was.
writers for politicians. Somebody's a dance teacher for Trump. Going,
There you go. Right.
I can
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, show that
Yes.
one more time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah.
8. Okay, good.
I call this the udder.
Yeah.
The utter. All right, this is a nice segue to get us into. This is apropos of nothing, but I just saw this right before we came on. And the headline was just kind of how like even Rupert Murdoch is turning. I thought he'd already turned, but he's turning more apparently at Trump. There was an op-ed in today's Wall Street Journal where and I don't know who wrote it, if it was an editorial or an op-ed, but the lines that stuck out to me were they said that his obsession with Greenland and with the Nobel Prize might best be resolved in therapy, and and that
2020, you
he
can add.
and that he's quote flirting with cognitive decline. And I'm thinking flirting is got
Flirting.
ended up in his room drunk, laying on the bed naked. What do you mean he's
Flirting.
flirting
Yeah.
with it?
He's
Yeah.
Stormy Danieling it.
No.
Well,
No, he is in the glowing after sex of cognitive
Yeah.
decline.
have you seen his niece Mary and Mary's brother? She's got a YouTube show, and she's had a brother on talking about their his sister Mary Ann, who was a federal judge up until the time they were going to investigate once his tax returns were released and realized she was taking money she should have been taking. Then she retired. But apparently, I didn't know she had died, but she died from the same dementia that Fred died from, that Trump's dad died from. And I saw Mary Trump's brother yesterday in an interview with him saying, look, we both saw Grandpa. We both saw Aunt Marianne. He's acting exactly the same way. The behavior, excuse me, the behavior is identical, nonsensical, word salad. Saying things that make absolutely no sense. And because you're rich or you're powerful, people go, yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah. Those
He's
are
the
lovely
evil
clothes
Chauncey
there, bro.
Gardner.
What
Yeah.
Chauncey Gardner? So it's just it's really when you read about like the American Revolution and you wonder how or you may have wondered how King George III was so crazy and how he got away with being so crazy. Then you think, well, he was the king. And it was bloodlines, and really, other than kill him and assassinate him, back in when the monarchy ruled Britain, what could you do? But fortunately, that can never happen in America.
Oh,
Fortunately, that could never happen in America because we have a system of checks and balances to
Yeah.
make sure that doesn't happen in America.
it's all good. It's all good, dude.
So it's like
When you have a government based on a gentleman's agreement, this is what happens,
Yeah.
right? That we
Yeah.
just all agreed that we wouldn't completely fuck it up. We'll push it our way, you push it your way, but we got a good thing going here until
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me start off with this. As I mentioned, and this is the first time that you've listened to the audio version of the podcast or you've watched the show here on YouTube. What I do with my guests is I usually have one specific question that I ask them, let them extrapolate on it, then I'll let everybody else in on it. So we'll go with the first question I have, and I think I have the wrong names written down on this here. Carlos, we're gonna go with you with this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Hope you get it right, buddy.
Uh,
False.
there is a quiz. There is in fact a quiz. You have got Trump in is it Davos? Is that the
Davos, yeah.
Davos is the correct pronunciation in front of world business and economic and political leaders. It just gave a speech that was just gibberish, going on and on and on and on and on about Greenland. Him say he's apparently taking the threat of invading Greenland off the table for now. That's kind of how he said it is for now, that it's off the table. And since that his speech is ended, apparently he tweeted something out that it was threatening everybody with tariffs, and now he's back. He's backing off on the tariffs. Okay, you have got Europe united. Europe is absolutely united. It's like, fine, you want to impose tariffs on Europe? Fine. We don't need you. We'll trade with Canada. We'll trade with China. We'll trade with each other. You have got European nations such as the UK. You have got Germany and others making war plans right now for what to do in the event that the United States pulls a quote sneak Pearl Harbor type attack.
Venezuela.
What to do if there was a sneak attack, and it's like, if it's World War II, where are the Axis powers? Basically, as far as this is concerned. Now there was a press conference going over a lot of this yesterday. That was about an hour and a half long, and during this entire hour and a half, the word Epstein didn't come up once. So my question for you is this: well, actually, ask a couple questions. Number one, how serious do you think this is? Is this, it's so ludicrous, the whole Greenland thing. Is this, in your opinion, his madness and him seriously, wanting to acquire this 51st state, and making it Greenland? Or do you think that it is distraction so that we're not talking about Epstein? And today is the 52nd day. No, 32nd day, excuse me. It's been 32 days since
They were required.
since they were required to release in their entirety the Epstein files, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's doing anything about it. The Justice Department is not enforcing the law that was passed by Congress and signed by the president. So is he serious? Is it distraction?
Well, a Republican committee just voted no. I just saw that on Threads. They voted no to force Pam Bondi to release anything on the Epstein files. I think it's both. I think it's a win-win for him. He's like, I want a distraction to get me off the Epstein files, but could possibly work in my favor, like the Peace Prize, like everything else. So, from what I hear, the Palantir boys, the guy from Honduras who wanted to build this freedom city, that it's a bunch of billionaires that are in his ear and in his financial campaign and donating to his campaign. They want to build that perfect city where they can have greasy faces like Peter Thiel and live forever. And so it's Palantir, it's crypto, they're the ones that are pushing Donald to do this. But I don't think he's intelligent enough to realize that it's a ruse and it probably won't work. In his head, it sounds great. Wait, you give me money, we'll build a perfect city, and I can bring Trump towers. And so I think it's both for him. I think it is a distraction to keep people from thinking about Epstein, but I really believe he thinks it's going to work. And I believe there's some billionaires that kind of hope it could work too. I think this is all planned since Citizens United, since a selfish third-party person decided to stay in the race and mess up everything, which we'll get to later. But so yes, I think it is a distraction, but I think he's hoping that it'll actually work. And the billionaires are advising him one way: Donald, do it, invade. And what's left of any sensible Republican or somebody in the Joint Chiefs of Staff are saying, no, dude, this is not worth it. The tariffs aren't going to work. Europe is uniting against this. As you say, that they have trade partners with China. They have trade partners with each other. They'll get Canada. They'll get stuff otherwise. So
let me ask you this.
Short, long answer is that he believes it's a distraction, but that he also believes it from the billionaires that this plan could work. And that's the scary part.
Let me throw this in as well. One of the main foundations, one of the main pillars of this whole campaign was America First, America First, America First.
Sure.
Okay. Well, the result of America First is that the rest of the world is going, fuck you. Then we'll just deal with each other. How long do you think America can survive without realizing that it's a round world? And that we need to be trading with each other. We need to be
we're interconnected.
Each other's back.
I had said on your show on Stephanie Miller that I think it's going to be his own Frankenstein villagers, the Mar-a-Lago Red Hats.
Hang on one second. 21 minutes.
Yeah.
It took you to mention Stephanie Miller this time. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
I just
I had
looked
mentioned on that other show.
I won the pool, by the
And
way.
your show that I think it's going to be his own lemmings that are going to turn on him to realize, yeah, this is a big world. What he's bloviating about and bragging about is not true anymore. We just can't buy because we can't buy groceries. We can't do this. We can't get a job. The economy's tanking. I can't buy eggs. So I think it's got a shelf life of the midterms or before, that where people are just going to go, nope, we're done. That's it. Hopefully, that's what you hope. And all the ice raids are a distraction. Greenland is a distraction. It's all one giant television production with different stages. Like, set this one off, set this one off, set this one off. But pretty soon, you're going to run out of ideas that are workable. But, as I say, he's funded by billionaires and crazy Uber Palantir psychos that are doing his surveillance. So that's going to keep it sustainable. It's going to be up to people like Joe Rogan, who are starting to crack a little bit, but maybe not. Once the Joe Rogan podcaster dam breaks, I think it's going to be over. That's our
Really?
best hope.
You know he's
right
not number one anymore.
No, he's not number one anymore. Yeah,
You know, he's number two behind Midas Touch.
Midas Touch. So I don't think it's going to last that long. I think that's why they're worried about the midterms. I think that's why they're pushing so hard. So maybe it lasts till November or before, until everybody just goes, nope, we're done. You ain't doing nothing for us. You know, farmers have already said that. They lost on the tariff war there. You got oil guys. I just saw Instagram today where oil is going to reach $56 a barrel, which is not great for the U.S. and the oil workers. They was showing some oil city where the hotel was completely vacant. There's no workers. You know, so I think the regular blue collar gal is by November just going to say, along with the farmers, we've had it. This guy's a nut job. He's not doing anything. America first has always meant American billionaires first. And that's what they're going to find out, I think.
Well, actually, not really. Not if you go. I mean, perhaps this iteration. But if
This
you go
iteration
back,
is.
Yeah, the history of the Lindbergh America First was
Sure.
different. That was about anti-Semitism among other things. Tom and Mike, let me open it up. Your thoughts on the same?
I don't think he's clever enough to do this as a ruse. I think he's insane, and I think also his followers in the White House don't care. They're like whatever. They're mostly serial liars and lunatics. So he's just a crazy person who's allowed to be a crazy person, and they're terrified. And the senators, especially the senators, the House is gone. They're lunatics too. But the senators are pretty much the ones that are in the crosshairs because they don't know what to do. And especially the polling on Greenland is atrocious.
56%, I think.
No, higher, way higher. Last poll I saw was in the 60s that strongly disapproved, and only like 18% like approved. I mean, it's in the 60s as far as disapproval for invading Greenland. And if they attack it, I personally believe it'll be the collapse of the U.S. economy, because not only do we have to worry about our trade partners, but these people are buying they're buying our debt. And
Yes.
Sweden's already said they will not do it anymore. And if Trump invades Greenland, there'll be sanctions on us. Russia will be the one, and we are in a very precarious position financially because of our debt, and we can be crippled really, really quickly.
Yeah, somebody said it'll make the Great Depression look like Disneyland Light.
Mike.
Yeah, Trump is already. I mean, you just see now on the news that he's kind of already tacoed on Greenland. You know, he's announced this framework for a grand new deal that allows America to do whatever they want in Greenland, which is exactly what we've been allowed to do since 1951.
While losing military bases.
Basically. But as far as the electorate goes, I think a third of the country is in it for the racism and will always be in it for the racism. And they love the more ICE knocks down doors with battering rams, they get a giant, right-wing boner for that. And like Carlos says, and then he's propped up by the billionaires. But I think it's going to come down to the uh, micro political survival of a few senators who have to make that calculation of which way can I go here, you know,
The Massies of the world, yeah.
Yeah.
and see if someone, you know, in some of these marginal races, I mean, even here in Ohio, you know, John Husted is this kind of invisible senator who no one even knows, but is already starting to distance himself from Trump here because he sees the writing on the wall. And if that's the case in
The
Ohio,
bellwether.
imagine in places like Maine and some of these, you know, actual swing states. So,
And but you're all overlooking something, something that is a real possibility.
That
You know,
Bjork
that
gets hurt and then everything goes to shit.
it all completely
yes.
goes to shit.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wait a second. That's Iceland. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
You're making the
Iceland,
mistake.
Greenland, wait, well, yeah, exactly.
Greenland has
We
ice,
got,
Iceland has Bjork.
we got,
That's how you remember.
we've got
But
it.
in as much as I've read the studies about
Wait,
climate. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, now you can make me completely lose my train of thought. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Sure.
What were you
No,
going to say?
reading the studies about climate change,
Oh,
they
yeah.
said that
No,
that eventually some place like Greenland and Serbia are going to be farmable because the Earth is going to get so warm, all of that ice is going to melt. Underneath is going to be lovely, agriculturally rich land by which the people will be able to grow stuff and take advantage of. So maybe he's he's seen a crystal ball. I get it now.
I see the future, Carlos.
Yeah.
It's all green.
Yeah.
Green is green. Ice will be ice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it was. You were talking about how they love the race thing in terms of seeing ice batter in somebody's front door and drag people out. But the problem is the latest one today or was it yesterday and just in today's news is that some guy sitting on on his couch drinking a beer in his underwear and his Crocs watching TV in Minneapolis and here comes ice, and they drag his ass out in the cold and the snow and everything else. And he's an American citizen. Because what I had always heard was, I think it was Liz Winstead said this a couple weeks ago. When things will change is when you see a white person get killed, and that is inevitable. I think Liz
That
said
isn't
that.
a woman. That isn't a lesbian. That isn't
Right. White man.
That isn't screaming, "F you" to ice.
But okay, the wife did, but not the one that got killed.
But they don't
not
equate the
Good.
two.
Well,
They keep referring to her as a violent. You could hear on the tape she's a violent, crazy person.
Well, let me bring this around because this is the next question, and then we can extrapolate on that. This will be for you, Mike. Okay, so what during the press conference yesterday, Trump finally acknowledged or referred to what happened to Renee Good as being to that murder. Let's call it what it was. We all saw it. Jon Stewart did a brilliant thing where he had that side by side with January 6th, but January 6th and the voiceover of what a peaceful protest of patriots it was, and then the voiceover of Renee Good and
Hey, bud.
and
I'm not mad at you.
and them all calling her a deranged lunatic. And that was what the official line out of the White House was. So yesterday, Trump officially shaking his head, "Oh, it's awful, it's horrible, it's tragedy." Because what I found out was that her father is a Trumper. Her father's for Trump. Her father's and I hope he still likes me. I mean, now, this is a woman who is dead and who lost left 3 little kids behind, and I'm not kidding. He mentions her like one or two sentences, and then he goes on this tirade about, "Oh, I hope he's not mad. I hope he's not mad at me." I mean, so here is my question for you on this, Mike. We have been saying for the last year, every time something Trump does that's jacked up, especially something that was like in the 2025 project happens, what we always say, the refrain is, "You voted for this." So here is my question. Since in fact her father was such a big Trumper and was so down with Trump's agenda, and apparently not just somebody who hung a flag outside or put a bumper sticker on, but was just all in for him. Is it cruel? Is it cruel? And is it unfair to say to her father, "You voted for this"?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say it's cruel. Yeah, I think there are. I mean, he knew as the father of a lesbian woman that voting for Trump was putting her life in danger. He didn't expect it to be in this way. I mean, I am the father of a trans kid, and I know that he makes it more and more likely that something bad will happen to my son every day. Um, Yes, so that part of it. I don't, but I would never go as far as saying that somebody's vote that, makes them deserve something as horrible as this, I mean, our goal when this is over is to have a functioning democracy again,
Hmm.
not to just have a left version of a authoritarian state.
Hmm.
So I balk at like going so far as saying, the fucker deserves it.
Now, I
Sorry.
wasn't. Let me be clear.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
No, no,
That's not.
no. I know you aren't, but
That's the
I know
question.
people. I know people
Yeah.
are though.
Oh,
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
people who are
Yeah.
saying it, but no,
Well,
I wouldn't say for a moment that
yeah.
he deserves it. She certainly deserves it.
Right.
Nobody
Yeah. Yeah.
deserves it. But I mean, isn't it accurate to say that that's what he voted for? And before you answer that
Right.
question, looking at it on the flip side, there were plenty of people in 1964 who voted for LBJ who were Democrats who lost their kids in Vietnam. So
Oh,
could
absolutely.
you make the same argument? Hey, you voted for this.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, and that's the funny thing about democracy. I don't know who said it that we get the government we deserve.
Hmm.
People. Yeah, yeah. There are people. I just saw someone the other day, some Cuban Republican party chair who's upset because his wife was just deported. And it's like,
Hmm.
well, the Cubans always thought, well, it's not us. I mean, we, we're the good ones,
We're
right?
the white Latinos, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Republican leading.
So yeah, it's happening all over, and I think there are, uh, I found what he said though. It wasn't just that he said, I heard her dad was a Trump supporter. He said that like 12 times.
No, it went
He
over and
never
Hmm.
over,
once even
over
said
and
her
over and over.
name,
No,
and kept, I hope he still loves me. I hope he still, you still love me, right? I mean, I killed your daughter, but you still love me, right?
yeah, and no condolences. No, I'm sorry about the
No,
kids, the
my heart
family.
goes to out to him
Nothing,
and the kids.
nothing.
Right. Yeah.
I just hope he's not mad at me. I mean, that was
Right.
really it. That
This
was
is
the
a
gist of it.
this is a
That's
repetition of what happened to the firemen at the fake assassination attempt. The firemen who
Yes.
got killed, and this is
Right.
what happened to Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah.
Somebody said, where was your rage when Ashley Babbitt got killed?" And I said, "It was on the couch, like she should have been, but she died for a lie. It's sad. As
Well,
much
the
as
irony there is actually, and this is when I say to people who I say if Trump is committed just about every single deadly sin, and they go, well, when has he murdered somebody? He murdered Ashley Babbitt
yeah,
because
yeah.
if
she
he
died.
goes, I lost I
She's
lost the
alive.
election, I concede. No, there's no January 6th. There's
Yep,
no stop the steal. She's at home doing whatever she's doing,
yep.
rolling up a doobie, getting angry at or getting ready to get angry at
Mhm,
Joe Biden.
mhm.
She's alive.
Yep.
Nobody,
Same with the
nobody
firemen.
should.
There is a podcast that I've heard excerpts from, and I want to hear the whole thing. I think it's only like three or four parts on the life of Ashley Babbitt, and they talked to her family, and she was a perfectly sane, normal woman who was radicalized by right wing shit over the internet,
We never
and,
thought
and and
ISIS
she
could
was
happen
not.
here.
We never thought it could happen here, but yeah, go for. Well, come on. What's his name? The kid from Marin, the Taliban kid from Marin.
Yeah,
He's still
Yeah.
in prison. What? John Walker? John Walker Lynn? Is that
hmm,
right?
I
Oh,
think so.
right.
Yeah.
But she was not known as being political, being an activist, nothing. It was hours and hours of getting sucked down that rabbit hole. Once that algorithm got a hold of her, she clicked one or two of the wrong videos, and the next thing you know, she's getting shot at the Capitol.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
But
actually
here's the other part of this too: is that you realize they sent her family. Trump did about $5 million, 5 million taxpayer dollars,
Hmm.
yeah.
and that kind of money didn't go to the Capitol Police who were killed. From the Law and Order president and Law and Order party. Five
Yeah.
million dollars because he's an American hero.
You have to paint it at that. You have to keep it going. It's the way cults work. And yeah, you have to sustain it with the money from other innocent people. But yeah, yeah, I agree with Mike that it's karmically you don't wish for things to happen, but when you set things in motion with how you vote, you are making it harder for those people to live freely. So you certainly have contributed to the denigration of how you'll be treated if you vote for Trump.
Yeah, and I also think we're way past niceties. I mean, the Joe Biden. I think that Joe Biden 4 years kind of took it out on us. The Merrick Garland slow bus to justice that never got completed on Trump's insurrection.
Yeah,
I mean,
How much do you blame him? How much do you blame him?
Completely. And I blame Joe Biden for not getting on his shit. But I blame Merrick Garland. I'm so in a weird way. I mean, he's like the perfect choice by Obama to be Supreme Court. Another wimp, another guy who's just jeepers creepers. I don't want to upset people. What's my decision going to be? He gives off that vibe. I mean, he literally could have indicted Trump 3 months after Biden was in office. There was that we all saw the evidence. Then they had even more evidence that the January 6th committee came up with. And I'm sure the FBI even then had enough evidence. And especially when you listen to some of excerpts of Jack Smith's deposition to Congress, then you really get upset at Merrick Garland.
They drop it. By the way.
I want to tie him in a chair and put on those Clockwork Orange eye things and just scream at him at the top and do a Sam Kinison. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
This presupposes that they wouldn't have tried to block everything that Merrick Garland was doing and delaying it anyways. I take the side that blaming Merrick Garland is like blaming a babysitter for a shitty kid. This is all on Republicans. This is all on the parents. Blaming Merrick Garland is like blaming the airbags on somebody that rams a car into the wall. The airbags were faulty. It's all at the fault. This lies solely. This lies solely on Republicans. On January 6th, they saw what happened. They did not have the guts to do what was right. They said, let's let the law decide this.
I agree.
This is a shitty parent. You're blaming the babysitter.
But Carlos, I agree with that. But Merrick Garland was the Attorney General of the United States, and Merrick Garland could have been a lot more aggressive.
There was no need for Merrick Garland. If the Republicans do the right thing,
it's his job. You can't count. The reason we have checks and balances is because you can't.
This is what they want us to do. They want us to argue about Merrick. Works perfectly for the Republicans because it absolves them of any responsibility. And we're talking about Merrick Garland. We should be talking about the Republicans. It's all on Republicans.
No, but it's not. Of course,
all of it.
Of course, the design of it. There's so many ways you can go backwards in time and say if you start with the stolen.
We just did it with the woman that got shot. If Trump doesn't lie, Ashley Babbitt doesn't. If Trump doesn't lie, Ashley Babbitt doesn't die.
Yeah.
So why don't we blame somebody else other than Trump?
But what you're doing is you're asking Republicans to grow a pair when they didn't grow a pair in his entire 4 years.
What I'm doing is I'm blaming Republicans. It doesn't happen. None of this happens. We don't need a Merrick Garland,
Carlos,
if Republicans are courageous.
We get it. They're not courageous. But
so I don't blame Merrick Garland. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
I think he's the babysitter that did a shitty job, but the parents are the one to blame.
But he's a babysitter who was drunk on the couch with her boyfriend's dick in her mouth.
Well, guess what?
I think
the
Garland
parents should have never let that kid have a babysitter in the first place.
I've told you that.
Pardon me?
Be careful saying couch on this show.
I think Merrick
we'll be hearing from J.D. Vance.
Garland and Biden made a political calculation that they should fix the country and not engage in retribution. Mm-hmm. I disagreed at the time. I thought they could have done both. And I think the question is going to be when we take power again, are we going to just get bogged down in retribution? Because there's any number of people that belong in prison for what they've done this administration. But we also have a ridiculous amount of work to do to undo, to rebuild things like
to block things that he's going to
international aid
continue.
and the education system. And
Well, we got to
you
safeguard
know,
things that we thought were norms. That's number
right.
one.
Yeah.
But I still think we can walk and chew gum. We have different
We would
bodies
hope,
of government.
All right,
Yeah.
let me ask you this question, because Trump himself mentioned this. If in fact, and that was the thing that I lost my train of thought on, is why we have to be so careful, is because Trump would like nothing more than there to be some kind of a riot or something he can call an insurrection. So therefore, he can invoke military law, the Insurrection Act, and not have midterm elections. He's already floating that. So we can't guarantee whether or not we're going to have midterm elections. But let's say we do. Let's say they're fair. Let's say the Democrats take the House at the very least, possibly the House and the Senate. Do you think that they should be investigating and impeaching Trump when you know it's not going to lead anywhere? Because even if in fact they convict in the House, which they will, and it goes to the Senate, and even if the Democrats take the Senate, they're not going to take 2/3, which is what it takes to remove a president. So it's a waste of time.
What they they can do though is they can defund things.
Mm-hmm.
They have the purse strings. They can.
Well, they did. They did. Prior to those,
Last time I
else
heard
they
that
did.
Congress had the purse strings. That was
According to the Constitution, yes.
Yeah.
But
Can I
that's not
say-
how it's been the last year.
On the point of the midterm elections, I don't think you can cancel the midterm elections. I do believe he's going to occupy Democratic cities and swing states to depress the vote.
Yep.
I do think that there's a very good chance that suddenly he's going to declare an insurrection in Maine, or in these states where there's a margin of error, where if you put troops in the urban centers, I mean, a state like Ohio is a great example, right? If they
they don't want to
troops
do that to
into
the black part of
Columbus,
Maine.
that swings the election in Ohio. If Sherrod Brown looks to be winning, they could do that pretty easily by suppressing the vote in one city in a red state. That's what I'm afraid is going to happen.
Well, here's the thing. You mentioned Maine, and this is another thing I read right before we started. Did you know that they have an ICE presence that's growing in Maine, and its whole point is to get Somalis? I didn't know that they had a nice presence in Maine. It's not getting a lot of play right now, but they're in Maine, and it's growing. And maybe you're right. Maybe that's the
We do
funnel.
here in
here's what I-
Columbus too, because of Somalis. Yeah, and they will be trying to depress turnout in Republican states, in the cities in Republican states, because that's something they can do.
But Republicans are pissed too. Is the problem?
Yeah.
80% of the people who rely on the Affordable Care Act, who are now losing it, are living in states that voted for Trump. 80%, and it's not an exaggeration. I mean, they're the ones who are getting screwed more than
and they have a long history of voting against their own self-interest.
Yeah.
Well, and I also think
again, the
I
white
also think
people
that-
in Ohio, they don't care that they're losing they care that they're losing their health care, but they don't care on election day. On election day, they vote for whichever candidate doesn't have a D next to their name.
Yeah,
know?
but I also
I'm so
think
glad
this is
we left
igniting
there.
people to
I'm
vote.
so glad we left there. I'm from Akron. I was born in Akron. We left when I was 5. I'm so glad we left there. I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
You're
No,
glad
I
live here and you don't? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
You and I were on the exchange program.
I think this is igniting more people to vote and more people to vote vehemently. I don't think it's sort of like what Trump is doing is turning off all the Hispanics that voted for him in the last
Miami.
election. And I think that what's going to happen if you try to suppress the vote, it's going to be the opposite. People will vote in droves. They will protect themselves in groups of people. They will go and they will
Hope
vote,
so.
and they will be more adamant than ever about voting. In the meantime, I think the Republicans who aren't so adamant about voting do not want to have any part of the chaos that's going to be out there if this is what's going on. And those people will more likely to be suppressed because their will to vote with everything that's going on. And God knows what's going to happen between now and November. This is the first year. Officially, the first year was a day ago?
Yesterday, I think.
Yeah. 1 year. Imagine
He's not,
January to November.
and I'm making very clear so they can't lie about what I said. I am not making a threat. I am not making a prediction. I'm making a guess based upon what it is I have observed, and that is he will not be president at the end of this term. The man is
Oh,
deteriorating physically and mentally
Yep.
every single day. And if he doesn't drop dead, somebody will grow a pair and invoke the 25th Amendment.
well, his
But
speech
he will
before,
not be.
yeah, his
Right.
speech at Davos, he was doing his Sleepy Joe impersonation. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy, he was a, here, there's a guy at the end of every bar in the country that's going, what's wrong with that guy?
My favorite, my
He
absolute
was
favorite
Larry
line
Teaser.
so far from this
Yeah.
administration is when they say we're catching you sleeping at meetings, and he goes, "I'm not sleeping. They're clicking when I blink."
They're clicking when I blink. They got those high-powered Japanese cameras.
Yeah.
Click, click, click.
What about the
I
drool?
loved his ode to the binder clip at the press conference the other day. Did you see where he picked
Oh,
up the
yeah.
giant binder clip
Uh-uh.
and said,
Oh.
"Look at the size of this thing. It would hurt if I got my finger caught in it, but
Oh,
I wouldn't
yes.
show any pain. I would just take it, even while my finger fell off." You're like, dude.
Dude, Grandpa. Grandpa,
He
get him to the couch.
tosses it, and then he tosses the thing. This is a report of all the wonderful things I did last year. Ugh.
Yeah,
And
God.
again, as I said, watch Mary Trump's show or listen to Mary Trump's podcast, and they say she hates his guts because
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
she hates Fred's guts because
Mhm.
Fred treated her late father so poorly. He looked at him as weak because he was an alcoholic and he drank himself to death. But he still was treated like crap because he wasn't as ruthless as Donald was. But she says that's my grandfather. Their grandfather, Fred Trump, at the end was so bad that they had a fake office set up for him in his offices. That had his name on the door and everything else, so he could walk in and wave to people and have a briefcase that was empty and go in
man.
and pretend like he was going to work.
Oh,
and
boy.
Donnie was going to work, even though
They
he was.
had a fake
Yeah.
black family that he could not rent to just to make him happy
Yeah.
every day.
Slept on a mattress of his eyebrow trimmings.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, you're up. This is off base somewhat from what it is that we've been talking about. I saved this for you because can I say that you moved from Marin County, that you abandoned Marin County,
Yeah.
and Marin County is one of those places. Marin County's got a national reputation that is exaggerated and blown out of proportion in a lot of ways, and in some
Nah,
ways it isn't.
nah.
In some ways it is. First time
It
I heard
used
of
to
Marin
be- it
County,
used to
I was in the sixth grade and I saw
Yeah.
Serial. Remember Serial?
Yeah.
You know, it was
Martin
all-
Ball.
Martin Ball and Tuesday
Oh.
Weld.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the things that really surprised me was about maybe 10, 12 years ago,
That's when I went to my first tantra class, Brian, and Marin.
was in Marin. Why? One reason to go to Marin.
There's a lot of things I learned,
Money well spent,
like
Tom.
what to do with these.
For God's sakes, Mrs. Robinson.
Well, I didn't know that there were so many anti-vaxxers in Marin until about 10, 12 years ago when they had a whooping cough outbreak in Marin because of all of these, and again, Marin, if you're not familiar with it, the demographic in Marin is they are college educated. A lot of them have advanced degrees. They make six-figure incomes. There's a shit ton of money there, but there are also a lot of them that shocked me. A lot of these people that are this educated don't vaccinate their kids because they believe in that MMR lie that's been debunked and it causes autism. It has nothing to do with autism whatsoever. And so they don't vaccinate their kids. And so you had a whooping cough outbreak, which shocked me because I don't know if you've ever known of anybody with a whooping cough. I know my mother had it in the 1940s. My mother, as a baby, had whooping cough. All right. Well, now the latest is that according to the CDC, take that for what it's worth. America is perilously close to losing its designation as a measles, or losing its measles elimination status. And the way that is calculated is that if a population has 95% of its population vaccinated against a particular thing, then they consider it eliminated because most people are covered. Well, now we are down to 92.5, which may not seem like a lot, but it is. And it's close enough for them to get rid of that status because we had the first measles case pop up in Texas when they passed whatever it was that allowed them the freedom to be able to send their kids to sit next to their unvaccinated little germ bombs to sit next to your kid in kindergarten. Back in January, the first kid caught it, and by the end of the year in Texas, you had 785 cases, and 2 kids died. Now it is in several states, and people don't not cross state lines. It's expanding, and it scares the shit out of me. I'm expecting a grandchild, and it's a while before they can be inoculated. You've also got people who, for whatever reason, are not able, for whatever medical reason, are not able to get, and old people are not able to get shots. And they say that not they say, statistics back up that 9 out of 10 unvaccinated people will get it. If you are not vaccinated for measles, it is that contagious that 9 out of 10 people won't get it. All right, so here's my question.
You like ice cream?
I love ice cream.
Thank you.
I'm lactose. I'm actually I don't like. I like it, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't have it. I can, but you just can't be around me when I have it. That's the difference. Is what it is. You may remember back in the '90s there were a couple of cases where, I think it was like Christian Scientists who had kids who were sick, and they prayed over them. It was something like minor. We take them to the doctor, they get penicillin, and they prayed over them, and they died. And they were charged, and I don't remember how it ended up. If you don't give your kid a vaccination for something like this, and your kid dies, or if your kid is unvaccinated, but even though they don't get it, they give it to the kid sitting next to them in school who, for whatever reason, couldn't get the vaccine, do you think the parents should be charged with a crime?
Well, if you can prove that, good luck. I mean, if you can prove it in court that it was your kid that was the patient zero that killed, or somebody can prove that it was somebody's kid that killed your kid.
Or if your own kid, or even if it's your own kid, if
if your kid dies of measles and you didn't
I'm
have
giving both examples.
Well, I mean,
because I'll say it's my choice,
but listen, if you're in Texas, that is not going to happen. The attorney general is not going to prosecute the person who, the mother and father who didn't have their kid vaxxed. Maybe in a blue state that might happen. I think we're screwed because of how stupid people have gotten. And what I pray for is that there is maybe COVID comes back, but it just is it's a even more deadly COVID, but it won't hurt you whatsoever if you've been vaxxed. And then the other non-vaxxers get destroyed. And it might sound like an awful thing to wish for, but I am so sick and stupid.
It's not going to change anything, Tom.
That's what dear Jesus, dear baby Jesus, who doesn't really exist.
We had COVID that killed people if you didn't get vaccinated.
Oh, I know
still
that.
Had Herman Cain with no mask.
I want a nastier version. I don't want the tamed version like we dealt with.
COVID light.
Yeah, I want
zero.
I want COVID heavy duty. Ass kicking COVID.
COVID max.
Carried in mayonnaise and white bread, so it hits a certain
the one where
audience.
they look at you when you walk in the hospital and they go, "You're fucked."
I'll screw my below.
Get in the pile. Take your underwear off and get in the pile.
Bring out your dead.
What I'm not dead.
The plague, bury him under the streets like they did in Scotland, right?
Yeah.
You got COVID, we're just going to plow over your house and you can live underground now. You never get out.
Yeah, seriously. I'm at that point right now where I have zero fucks to give about any of these morons. Yeah. And the only thing that sucks is when somebody else gets sick because of their stupidity and their ignorance. And what bothers me has always been about stupid ignorant people is that their righteousness. about being that they have the right to be stupid and
Yeah.
and kill other people with their idiocracy.
It's the insidiousness of Dunning-Kruger, where you are actually not stupid. You're intelligent enough to believe just enough of a lie to go, you know what? Maybe there is something to that. And those scientists, the Jimmy Dores of the world, like, you've been lied to. I had a vaccine accident, and you've been lied to. I know Jimmy's an intelligent guy. He does a bit where he goes, comedians don't want you to read and do your own research. As we know, that's not research. That's not a peer-reviewed study. You're reading an article of somebody that's been debunked and thinking that you're reading and doing research. You're just being convinced of your own biases by some stupid article. So this denigration of experts is very dangerous.
And I don't buy into the fact that they're stupid. I think
correct.
we're
They're
all
not.
basically the same amount of intelligence on a little bit of a different, that they're making these choices. I mean, to me, that's what ignorant means, is that you were ignoring the facts that it kind of comes back to what I said before about, we have a government based on a gentleman's agreement. I mean, we always had left and right and whatever, Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon were the worst people we thought would ever, grace our earth.
Remember when John Birchers were the ones that it was scared
right.
about?
But even them, Nixon and Reagan had a general love for the country, even if they had weird ways of doing it. We never really thought that when are we not agreeing that measles is bad? How the hell did that happen? I mean, talk about basic values.
Well, they're not saying that. They're not saying that measles is bad. What they're saying is that the vaccine is worse.
That it is not so bad that it's worth preventing. Right. That it's okay to roll that dice, because what's worse is that maybe this conspiracy is also true.
But I think that all the old people who are going to pass away for no reason, all the old people who are going to die for no reason, all the little people.
But it's also, Brian, it's not just the anti-vaxxers, because it's never been a law where you were required to vaccinate your kid.
No, but you had to for school.
Law.
It can keep them home and homeschool.
Keep them out of school. It was politicians who vaccinate their own kids who changed the laws so that schools couldn't keep them out. It's sane people who do that for politics, which is much more, to me, is not stupid. It's evil.
Here's where I see this going. Back in the 1950s, after Brown v. Board of Education, and they were no longer allowed to segregate schools in the South, what the white Southerners who did not want to be around blacks did was they started Christian academies. And these Christian academies, being private schools, allegedly took no government money, so they could do whatever they want, and they can keep out whoever they want. What I see happening, if this trend does not reverse, is you're going to end up with a situation where you're going to see private schools where everybody's got to be vaxxed, and public schools where they don't.
Yeah,
I mean, I see that happening, except for the money situation. That's kind of the part that's the only monkey wrench in it.
Yeah. But
maybe in red states.
Mike is right. Go ahead.
No, maybe in red states that might happen, but I don't see that happening in blue states. But that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
Blue states are going to will continue to require vaccines.
I'm sorry, but I believe Carlos wanted to say how I was right.
Mike was right that people are intelligent. The friends that I have that are anti-vax are very smart people, very intelligent, doing very well in their relative careers, very caring, very good parents, as it were.
So what the hell's wrong with them? So what the hell's wrong with them that they would think that?
It's the Dunning-Kruger thing. It's that somebody appeals to some part of their brain that says, I'm an individual, and so to go along with the scientific experts would be groupthink. And I'm beyond that. And somebody has told me that I should be on that. And the food nutrition expert industry is just booming like crazy. Drink raw milk. Don't get a vaccination. That's the other force that's dumping all of this stuff. This is the same force that says electric cars don't work, windmills kill birds. By the way, power lines kills way more birds than windmills by the millions. Yeah. This is the show Landman that's trying to tell you all these facts about oil, which aren't facts. And so people start to watch Landman and say, yeah, oil's not so bad. Climate change is a hoax. This is the way it works. Intelligent people can be suckered into. That's the way a cult works. That's why people join Scientology. I have friends that are Scientologists. They're not stupid. They're very smart. So that's what makes it insidious, is that you can get really smart people to believe unscientific things, which becomes a danger to the whole community, and they
Definitely.
shove their kids, as you say, into private schools.
Well, I will
Yeah.
tell you the thing, going back to cults, in talking about how MAGA is a cult, and there's no question about it.
Absolutely.
That MAGA is a cult. But I've learned more about cult in the last probably 2 months, um, doing a deep dive on this Allison Mack story because they did there have been two.
Oh yeah. The
There's
actress.
been a document. Yeah, there was a documentary that you can see. Two documentaries actually on. I think it's HBO
She was in
Max.
Nexus, right?
No, she was on Smallville. She
But
played
she
Chloe.
she joined the Nexus because there was an actress that joined the Nexus cult.
No, Nexium.
Nexium, sorry.
Nexium. Yeah. So what the deal was is, she was a child had been a child actress. She was on Smallville for 10 years, which is the Superman coming of age thing that the CW did, and beloved and was making a fortune, and she goes to a meeting in upstate in Albany, New York, of this group run by a guy of all to empower women. It was all about, teaching you how to get out of your own way and all this. And she gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And he gets her to start this kind of this sub elitist part of the group that was just special hand chosen women that could be in this. And it ended up being slavery.
Yeah.
And what their deal
Rainier.
was to get Keith Raniere, and it
Yeah.
was to get women basically. But these women were all on board. Catherine Oxenberg from Dynasty, her daughter was one of was like the number 2 or number 3. She was not. Allison Mack was number 2. Indy Oxenberg I think was number 3, and her mother is the one that finally. With the help of, and it took years to get the New York Times to look at it and to write a story and get it looked at. But here's the point of all this. The most recent one is called Allison After Nexium. She ended up pleading guilty. She could have done 20 or 30 years. She did something like 4 here in Dublin, California, which is where they send women federal inmates. She did 2 years. And if you listen to the interview with her in court, like before the sentence, she's still spouting the party line that she's helping women, even though the thing they're most known for is that they got the women in this DOS is what this little individual group is called, to allow their hoo-has
To be
branded with a soldering iron with a design that really was Keith Raniere's initials. And she was holding the women all agreed to do it. They all agreed to do it, and they thought that it was bringing them to another state of enlightenment. They weren't forced. They were held down because of the pain, because there was no anesthetic. But bottom line is, she's going with the party line. In the beginning, so, I'm helping. All I was trying to do was free women. What I did was not wrong. We were trying to help women to become more empowered in the patriarchy and blah, 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 blah. Okay, while she's in prison, it's and the longer she's away from these people and out of this bubble, because she said she's in a bubble, and there were people who left, but those who left, those still in the bubble, said they left because they were crazy, or they left because of this, that. There was always some reason. But once she was away from all of that and all those people out of the bubble, and her thinking came back, it became, oh my God, what have I done? She was always a sweet person, always a nice, kind person. And next thing you know, she's setting up young women to sleep with Keith Raniere. So that's what cultism really is. It's being in that bubble and listening to only the people who are going to reinforce what it is that you already believe. But as soon as you can get away from them, and for a significant period of time, sense comes back.
It gives you a false sense of empowerment, and I've spoken to a guest you had on this show, and this is what happens with third-party voters after a primary, the fans of Jimmy Dore on the far left. It gives them a sense of empowerment that you're smarter than the Democrats, and you don't have to vote for Gavin Newsom in 2028 if he wins the election. You can be smarter than that. And it gives them this false sense of power that they can do something that's not possible. So it goes along the same lines. They draw upon your intelligence to say, you're not just going to vote for, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are the same. You're smarter than that. And you're making the wrong choice based upon some false empowerment that you think you get from this comic on stage. I am going to do my own research and not get vaccinated like he said on stage. So it plays along the same lines. Once you realize that you're not smart enough and you're not smarter than the experts, then you can act and respond accordingly. But if you get caught up in that stuff, oh, that comic, that Joe Rogan, those podcasters, that Tim Pool guy, oh yeah, he's saying something. That's where it starts to prey on intelligent people. They get empowered with that.
How much of this anti-intellectualism that we have seen in the last 10 years, do you think is about self-esteem more than anybody else? I mean, how much? I mean, the fact that you could look at a guy who's a weekend host on Fox News and decide, yeah, he should run the Army.
Well, I don't know about self-esteem. I honestly don't know. When I look at somebody like Joe Rogan, who I knew for years, and honestly believe that if the Joe Rogan of 20 years ago came and met the Joe Rogan today, he would be mortified. Mm-hmm. He would just be completely crushed. This is what I turned into.
Is he in a cult? No, you knowing the guys you know, would you say he's in a cult? He's surrounded by a bubble.
Yeah, honestly, I think Joe 20 years ago would lose his mind or even if I had told the Joe 20 years ago, here's my crystal ball prediction. You're gonna do this, and this, and vote and endorse Trump. He would have looked at me and go, "Fuck you." No way would he have he would have he would have been he would have been really pissed that I even said that. Mm-hmm. But but there's really no helping him right now, especially because Joe's really cut off the Neil deGrasse's, even Sam Harris, I don't agree with, or just strongly disagree with it about 35% of his stuff. Sam's still, mostly has 2 feet in reality, and Sam's completely perplexed by where Joe's gone, and like I said, he shut the door on so many people that he really admired and couldn't wait to get on his show. Like first people he got on his show, and when he could, Neil deGrasse, it was like, oh my God, I have Neil deGrasse on the show, and then so many leftists who did his show, Kyle Kaczynski, or I'm saying that wrong, his last name.
No, you're thinking of the Unabomber.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, he's married to Crystal
would be
Ball.
A get.
He's married to Crystal Ball. The guy who's married to Crystal Ball. But anyways, he had had a lot of people on the left on his show. Those people are no longer invited on. He's put himself in a bubble and he shut the door. And now it's all a bunch of sycophantic comedians who rely on him for his career, and other people who have been in the bubble. But they're slowly. I mean, you cannot hide. Even Fox News cannot hide for what's happening out there. And when you
they're trying.
There's no way to
they're trying.
Oh, I know, but there's no way to sugarcoat it when you see it with your own eyes. What's going on? If you turn down the volume, you're what you're seeing is. And I hear Joe's talking about it, and he's not talking about Trump and the right wing in pleasant ways right now. He's still got one foot in the bubble, and almost what I've heard of even talking about Jesus and stuff, which is really crazy because Joe is an atheist, So now he's talking about Jesus even. So it's really crazy time, which doesn't do a lot for the Texas. Holiday tourism industry. So
let me ask you this:
come to Texas and get your mind sucked out your asshole.
As a comic, does it help get asses and seats to be a guest in this show?
As it what?
As a comic, if does it put butts in seats?
Oh, there's a whole vein of comedy right now that is that bro comedy. Yeah, absolutely it does. It's kind of the Kill Tony and the Joe Rogan, and there's absolutely that vein of comedy. There aren't many credits in the comedy. I mean, I still do stand up all the time, and there's credits don't hardly exist anymore because they've just been so, it used to be, in my case, you get the Tonight Show because it was only one of 2 credits that were worth anything.
Yeah,
so it actually meant something,
Well,
now it's like credits mean, But yeah, Rogan certainly would but it's not. Rogan gets you followers, which in turn gets you booked and gets butts in the seats. Yeah.
Well, it's so bad with his followers shit that there are people who are getting booked solely based on the number of followers they have as opposed to how funny they are. And I heard a story in acting class. A fellow actor was telling me that she was up for a part, and it came down to her and one other actress, and all things were equal. And they looked at the followers that the other actress had, the followers she
Yeah.
had, and the other actress got it.
Yeah.
Here in Columbus, I routinely feature for people who have internet followings and
Yeah.
cannot do comedy. They can't follow my 30 minutes of professional comedy.
I think
I
that-
feel for him. It's like, I feel for you, dude, but you're not going to be able to follow this. I know.
Yeah. I like what people like Mike and I like what Steve Hofstetter has built up. Steve
Yeah.
has been courageous enough to go, hey, I politically am at complete opposite ends of Trump. I despise him. Here's my act. Here's where you can find me. And if you come to my show and you're a Trumper, you're not going to like me. And I applaud that kind of courageousness, and he's
I
built
do.
a following. He's done
Oh,
very well.
he's doing great.
Yeah, he's done very well.
Hey, Brian, I apologize. I have to jump, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were going this late.
Oh,
I have-
okay. Yeah. and
Good to see you, Mike.
Yeah.
I one great one I was going to toss at you, but I'll have to wait then.
Oh, wait, but thank you.
Save it.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I appreciate you doing it, especially the last minute. Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely. See you guys. Good seeing you again, Carlos.
You too.
See ya.
See you, man.
All right. That is Mike Larson. Carlos, anything you want to mention?
I do want to mention this question. I want to pose this question to you. I had thoughts about it. Do you feel at odds with standing for the national anthem, given that what is going on in the streets?
Yes.
I do too. I do too.
I have since Kaepernick. I have.
Absolutely. But even more so now. I could
do,
get it.
but I feel weird about it.
I do, yeah, and I feel conflicted. I was saying to somebody that if you rolled the tape of Trump speaking at Davos while you were playing the national anthem, if you rolled the tape of this Laotian man getting dragged out on the street in his pajamas while you were playing the national anthem, it wouldn't make sense. We're not united. If it's supposed to be about supporting the troops, the troops support Trump. I can't support that. It feels fake to me. That's all the
Is it
question I
really
have.
the troops that? Well, I mean, right now we have yet to see the army go into any place.
Correct.
So until that happens,
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's I'm still gonna, I'm still gonna believe the troops aren't gonna do something like that, or somebody's not gonna follow that order.
So we're standing for the Eric Swalwells and the Kinzigers and
That's why
the Kellys.
Right. Well, the other thing about invading Greenland that I worry about is starting, which is so funny. Again, going back to the Rogans and that were screaming that Joe Biden was going to start World War III with backing Ukraine. And in the meantime, Orange Jesus is going to, invade a country, a NATO country, and he's basically looking to destroy NATO. Or we're the enemy in the next world war.
Yeah,
we're the force that everybody's going to be.
We're the
and good luck.
powers.
And good luck trying to draft Americans with that. That's going to be fun. You're going to have to keep ICE here protecting the homeland from the people that are trying to get to Trump at the White House, and you're going to have to try to invade other countries. With your right-wing army.
Well, here's my big question: is once this is all over, are all of these ICE agents going to go to Argentina?
Yeah, right.
They better.
Is that what's going to happen?
I got places they can stay. I got my cousin has a couple of apartments there, but you're right. I don't know.
Or Paraguay was that the other?
Paraguay.
I'm of the school that the Democrats really need a game plan when they take over everything, and it starts with I scream this from the mountains. It starts with an immediate mandatory 18 years cut off for the Supreme Court justices.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah,
no question.
And that is retroactive.
So that, again, here's your problem. Again, it's a constitutional amendment.
Nope. Throw that shit out the window, dude.
That's not a constitutional amendment?
We had 1 year of Republicans throwing everything out the window, and the Republicans backing everything that Trump did. They showed us the way. They showed us that
Well, back up.
Stuff. No,
but they had a Supreme Court that let them do it.
Yeah,
you think
we will too when we take Thomas Alito and Roberts into the back and shoot them.
But this,
Kidding.
but this
Politically.
doesn't.
Joking.
But again, then we're not living in a free democracy.
Well,
Then
dude,
you're
we're not
talking
living in
about
a free
us
democracy
doing the
now.
same, but us doing
We
the
haven't
same
been
thing that
living.
they did.
Look, we've never been living in a free democracy. When you have Wyoming,
Democratic
when
Republic.
you have Wyoming with 2 senators and California with 2 senators, that's not a democracy.
No, that's
Yeah.
preposterous.
Hey,
So let's stop kidding ourselves that we live in a democracy.
I'll give you a
know.
chance to convince me, if we backtrack on the Garland thing, how would it have been different from what Gannon did in Florida to delay and get that trial? How would it have been different than what they did in Georgia to say that prosecutor was sleeping with the attorney and they canceled that trial? How would have this been different from all the other trials where there was a mountain of evidence against Trump in court and they threw those court cases out? How would it have been different with this thing?
I would tell you that if that case had come to fruition in 2022, if we had, and then I would have, then I would say, oh my God, they're doing that, they're doing this thing, but it never did.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So I couldn't
remember,
tell you.
Tish James made her case, and Alvin Bragg made his case, but those were both state. No, Tish James was federal, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Wasn't that federal, or was that New York? No, she was New York. That was a New York State case.
Yeah, somebody
I guess
you got 34 felonies for some reason. Oh, and Michael Cohen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about Michael Cohen. I looked at it on the neck. No one seems to care that he flipped again.
He flipped again?
Yeah. The Midas Touch Network booted him.
Wow.
He said he was coerced into agreeing that Trump was part of it.
Oh, they must have got something with his daughter.
I don't know, but he was
They
kicked
got
off of
something
the Midas Touch
You
Network.
know, it really is like they are all of these gangster, mobster,
They're
for
Putins.
10 years, of mafia illusions between Trump and how he's governing, like he's doing it like a mob boss.
Yeah.
And you hear shit like this, and it really does. He's governing. He's not governing at all, but it is running things like it's the mafia.
Yeah.
At least the Francis Ford Coppola mafia. I don't know anything about the real mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I haven't. I think he did a thing on Substack about it, and I haven't heard a peep from him from anywhere. It's almost like he's been dropped off the planet.
Wow.
So
That was an ally there for a while.
I guess nobody on the right wants to talk to him. Nobody at this point. All your credibility's gone.
None.
You're completely gone. I have no idea what what he was thinking. Maybe he's looking to write a book about what he was thinking this time.
Yeah.
JD Vance will do the same thing eventually.
Yep.
You mark
Yeah.
my words. JD
Yeah,
Vance will
it'll be
back
called
around.
Twinkle Eyes.
Yeah.
Twinkle Eyes.
With that, we're out of time. Anything you guys want to plug in and coming up?
Pasadena Comic Con Sunday, January 25th. Rock, Paper, Scissors. Watch it on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus with Ron Funches and myself and Tom Lennon.
All right. I am at the Marsh on Friday with my show, The Waiting Period, and on the Marsh in Berkeley. And on Sunday, the 25th, I am at City Lights Theater in San Jose with Not a Genuine Black Man, which I'm bringing back as
And
my-
see my new movie. Oops, that must have been my dick in your punch.
Man, let's just we're a class show. Total class all the way. Tom Sawyer, Carlos Rocky. Hey, thanks. Always a pleasure, guys.
All right.
And that's going to do it for us. I want to ask you to please remember to like and to subscribe. If you're watching us over YouTube, even if you think you have subscribed, double check and subscribe for us. If you're listening, leave us a 5-star review. It helps people to find the show. Well, I'll check you out next week with a different panel. Until then, be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live. Yeah, but then we got to cut out ourselves, guys, because we're live. Bye.
Bye.